All right, welcome back to VIBE Edu as we have the crew back. Even though TJ is in Seattle, Kim is just flown back from California, West Coast visits. Got to see Mitch Weathers in person. I know TJ and I were extremely jealous, but let's start that off as far as our conversation goes. So, Kim, you had a small community gathering out in California, and Mitch had the honor and pleasure to be in your presence.
It was the best. I mean, Mitch, he calls me here. You get the whole story. Mitch calls me maybe an hour and a half before.
Tried to get out of it.
He says,
Tried.
how critical, his word exactly. How critical is it, Kim, that I come? And he was on speaker in the car. And so me and two of my mentor teachers, we were driving. The looks on their faces, and I didn't say anything. They both were like, critical.
Oh, I thought that was you. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. There's more to the story, though. I was not just trying to get out of it.
Well,
there was more to the story.
Yeah. It's going to take him forever. We told him, just sit in traffic and let it take you forever. You're worth it.
Hour. It was an hour drive. Usually
That's
20
just a
minutes.
Typical California drive right there.
Yeah,
I know. But he showed up and we walked in first and got to get our beer and hang out and chill, talk about the day. I got to tell him about how a kindergartner puked in their book, right? And how sixth graders told me that I looked like a 50-year-old that just had Botox. And a kid asked if I was holding a bottle of vodka and it was water. I mean, typical school
Typical
day.
middle school.
Totally. Yep. Totally.
It's such an interesting question for the middle of the school day. Is that a bottle of vodka?
Is that what they see at home?
The middle schooler, TJ.
Right. But yeah, then after a bit, we had like a good crew, about 10 teachers from Northern California, all in the community, who came together, and one by one, as they walked in, we squeal, we turn around, we give big hugs, and I think Mitch was just like soaking in, the culture that is the community. So you, Mitch, we were talking about it before, but how did that make you feel seeing all of that?
Oh, it made me feel good. It was like, wow, this hour drive was worth it. I joke, but truly, yeah, the guy, as soon as you'll get this opportunity, I'm imagining at some point, but yeah, I was trying to explain it before we started the show that the feeling was one of, I don't think I could describe it in just one word. There was like this certain certainly a joy. There was like a reunion feel to it, like, oh, we haven't seen each other in so long, and someone else would show up and the whole place would just like, oh my God. And even someone who knew some of the other educators but had never been a part, you could definitely tell like, oh, these people know each other and they love each other and they're connected, aka Voxer. I mean, they're in communication, but they don't see each other in real life all that often. It was that feeling. But even the person who was new to it, it didn't feel like exclusionary, or like everybody was like super, like just as happy for anyone else to be there. And I could just think like, for somebody who might be new to that community, but who desperately needs it, what a just like breath of fresh air, like that big glass of water when there's like, oh, these are my people. So it was cool. It was very, very cool to see and be a part of.
We'll have in July, Mitch.
I
still enjoy when I see your face and run and jump on you. That's the plan.
It'd be fantastic. Exactly what it'll be like. And then we'll dogpile on TJ too. And everyone will be looking at the three boys in the whole place being like, what are those guys doing?
I know. But I think honestly, all of them, because they all are females, right? You, Mitch, you kind of were like, I'm going to leave you guys alone now. I'm going to exit now. But I think too, a lot of them were like, oh, he's here. Like he's here. I think they were just like, it's not just a podcast, right? Like they felt like you were part of the crew, the community also. That was a really cool feeling. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.
And to that point, I did have to get my daughter from track practice, which I made it by with 5 minutes to spare. But it was also it just happened to be. My plan was like, I'm going to be there and then play practice for one kid, track for the other, and that's when I called. And I'm like, and then I mapped it, and I'm like, okay, Kim, how critical is? And then she has me on speaker. I'm like,
in the car.
She knew how to get
all right,
there.
I'm gonna get there. And I thought I might be like, okay, I'm here for 15 minutes, and it was longer, and it was great, and I'm so glad that it all happened. But when I did leave, you could just see this this gathering, this herd, if you will, that really felt it's like went over and had this table in the corner and just tons of conversation and laughter, and then I guess eventually tears, and just looked like a special thing for sure. So glad I was able to drop in on it.
Yeah. Let's transition to the topic. So just as a reminder, we're doing mentorship and coaching. We've talked about the new teacher, the experienced teacher. Kim, when we were off mic, you had talked about a teacher that was looking to eventually be a teacher leader. Yeah. And that's really where we're going to touch on this week. I don't know if you want to expand on that individual, but when you're thinking about your community and you're starting to see the growth in these teachers, you're starting to see that passion build up of, okay, I feel like I'm mastering this component here, and I want to venture out and start maybe being a teacher leader. And obviously you're supporting them through mentorship and coaching. What does that look like within your own community?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, we are always growing and expanding, and I'm always looking for certain teachers to kind of grow with us in that work. And that's kind of what's happening right now, like as we speak. And so we have our fellowship that is happening. VIBE Edu is part of that, and the conference and everything. And I was just thinking, wow, some of these teachers that are part of the community, I need them. The teachers of the world need them. And it's really important that we get them the coaching that they need to be good coaches and mentors. And so I was just kind of talking to my team. I woke up early in the morning and just had this like, I have an idea of what we need to do so that they can be immersed in what good coaching looks like and sounds like. Because sometimes when you're a teacher at a school or a district, the coaching that you're surrounded by doesn't feel necessarily good. And then you're like, I don't really know if coaching is what I want to do, but I don't want to stay in my classroom until the day I die. So how do you do that? And so, yeah, we're definitely expanding on that for teachers, and they're easy to spot. The ones, they kind of say things like, I don't want to die in my classroom. There's more that I'm thinking, but I just don't know what it is. Like, those are the ones where I'm like, yep, you come here. And I know, Josh, you wrote an entire book about aspire to lead and all of that, but it's a weird feeling when you start to feel that way, right? Like when you start to feel like maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else, or maybe there's more for me. It is a weird feeling, but I think with these teacher leaders, I want you to know you stand in that, you step into that, and you get to grow into that. It's not something to like doubt. Don't ever doubt yourself is kind of what I was thinking.
I think one thing that helps with the transition is the minute that you help another teacher grow, like you have that instance where maybe you do a small session at the PD day that was scheduled and you volunteer yourself to teach the group about something new, or you go to a conference and present there on something that you're doing in the classroom, or simply at a PLC, you can tell that the folks around you are really learning from some of the comments that you're making. That feeling that there's other teachers growing in your presence, that's a nice transition and a nice signal that you're a teacher leader already and you have more to offer. And that's just different than staying in the classroom till the day you die. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we need teachers to do 30 years and be great at it all the way through. But if you are able to have that influence over other teachers and help them grow, we need that too within the system.
Wasn't it so much fun, TJ, to have those conversations?
Oh yeah. I mean, that
Like
was
the first time they've ever heard another leader say, "Hey, I see this in you. Have you thought about this?"
that, and the first time one of your colleagues says, "Man, I needed that."
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
the first time a teacher says, "I really learned a lot from that." I mean, that's actually how the Schoolhouse 302, our business was born. We were presenting, and somebody in the room said, "Hey, we need all of our administrators to know this."
Mm.
That's the minute you go, "Oh, wait,
Mm-hmm.
this is valuable to my peers and my colleagues and the profession." And then, obviously at that point they want to pay you to come and speak, and you have to make a company and figure all that out, like everybody on this call has done at one point. But that's a tipping point. That's a tipping point, just like it is for a teacher. But that was affirmation for me, and probably like I don't know what to call it, but that was a calling when I
Mm.
learned that my colleagues needed my support.
Yeah. I had a similar thing, TJ. I had a cohort that I had constructed for the district. It got taken from us after 2 years, and I had like this void because it filled my cup. Like I loved it. I loved pouring into aspiring leaders. Folks that were in this program, a lot of them didn't even have a title. It was just a principal chose them because they had characteristics of a leader, and they put them in the program. And 95% of the folks that were in that program in those 2 years got promoted either on their campus or in the district. It was really successful. And I felt amazing about it. And then the district took over and totally messed it up. But that's another story. Well, for myself, then I built like these 1-day events. I was a part of a principals association within our district. I built a single event like on a Thursday at 5:30, and it was like 90 minutes, and I had different activities and things for people. It was free. I would always have like 175 to 200 people show up, and they were so hungry because they didn't have information about how to become a leader, and they didn't have a mentor, and they didn't have a coach, and they were just floundering and trying to figure it out. And that was like, TJ, to your point of where Aspire to Lead was born, was these one-offs that I would do, and people just give me feedback that this was so good, I needed this. I'd never get this information on my campus. I don't even know where to go. Like, I'm just so glad that this is an opportunity for me to take. And again, it was free. And so that was kind of where my mission was born. But it's so true that there's so many folks out there that they may have the itch, they may have had someone speak into their life and say, this is something you should think about, but then they don't know what to do after that. And they're just sitting there going, I'd like to do this, I just don't know how.
Yeah. And I also think that's how books are born, by the way. Anybody who's listening, you solve that little problem in a school district or with your colleagues, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm plugging this dam over and over and over again. But if I put all of this learning that I've constructed and that I've gained through these coaching experiences into a book, then it's more scalable and more people have access to it. And that's what we want, because most of us, I think all of us, just want to add value to the system so that that translates to better outcomes for teachers and students and the community.
You guys, it's so good. When I was in Northern California visiting, I got to meet the superintendent of the school. So we were at a school, right? But the superintendent got to visit. Superintendent told me that he just happened to go to high school with the one and only Mitch Weathers, of all people. What are the odds? What are the odds?
But Mitch knows everyone. That's really what it comes down to.
But what I was talking with him afterwards, and we were talking about how the coaches across that school district need coaching, and also how incredible some of those teachers are even on that campus, and how he was like, thank you for coming in and coaching them. And I was like, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is just year one. This is just year one. Get ready for what's happening year two. When we multiply this with another cohort, and now you've got them coaching a group, right? And they're learning and growing. It's just going to be absolute magic. I think that the coaching part is where it's at. And if you can really coach teachers on how to coach one another and how to step into their power, I would say, in a lovely way, in a heart-centered way, not in a I know more than you way. When you take yourself out of it, so teaching, like what you were saying, like you take yourself out of it, like I just want to give you value, right? Like I'll give you all of the knowledge that I possibly have because I want you to feel empowered. I think that's the goal of creating these leaders, these teacher leaders.
Just to chime in here, and I hope that I hope we can talk about this for a little bit on the show, which is what you just described, Kim, I think is one of the biggest voids in education, period. So this show, the 4-part show, Mentoring and Coaching, I think that's an umbrella void. And I know next show, we're going to talk about executive coaching for principals, assistant principals, superintendents. I think there's a void there for sure. But I also think, like, if you asked me what are the top 3, 4, 10 things that are missing, one of the things I'm going to say is teacher leadership, period, and then coaching for teacher leaders. Because even when we name a teacher leader, a department chair, a grade level leader, the kindergarten a leader at that school, for example, we then don't typically pour into them as a leader. We know they were a great teacher. We think they can have influence. We want them to lead an initiative, but then we stop there. And I think that's a huge mistake. It's why we dedicated a third of our first book, Candid and Compassionate Feedback, to providing feedback to teacher leaders so that they can grow, not as teachers, but as leaders. So I just want to emphasize that, because just because you're a great teacher doesn't mean you're going to be a great leader. Even if you have experienced that little bit of influence and then you get a taste of that and you want to jump into the leadership role, you then need to somehow either pour into yourself, or the system needs to create processes and procedures for you to grow and get feedback as a leader. And I can't underscore that enough, because somebody listening is going to think, oh, we do a lot with our teacher leaders. You send them to teaching conferences. They know the pedagogy. They went to the Kagan training. That's not leadership training. That's just more teaching.
Well, Josh, you've said that numerous times on this show, and you as well, TJ, but it's also worth noting, like you said, like just because you're a great teacher doesn't make you a great mentor or eventually like a school leader. And it's worth noting that just because you might be an effective school leader, you may not know how to meaningfully and effectively train your mentor teachers to support your teachers. And not to say that in a negative light. I'd say that to say, and Josh, maybe if you can put it in the show notes, pick up the book, Candid and Compassionate Feedback. So you have a roadmap, you have some steps to follow. You're probably really good at it, but in the same way that a teacher hasn't had necessarily mentorship or leadership training or experience, a leader may not have done that either, right? So to equip yourself with the tools to effectively build your coaching cohort for your teachers is important.
At the end of the school day last week when I was visiting, we do a PD. And it's always funny because the principal's always like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want the PD to be about? I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. What do you want the PD to be about? I'll do anything. And then it turns into, well, what do the teachers need? What do the teachers want? And then usually it just naturally flows. And what I say is, who I am, all the things. I kind of tell them, like, listen, do you want to feel lighter? Do you want to feel good about your job? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to be excited to come to school? Do you want to know what to do when a kid says, is that vodka in your water bottle? Right? Like, do you want all of that? Yeah, I want all that. Great. Okay, I'm here. And then I usually will direct it to all of the teachers that are in the cohort that got to experience our coaching and our running alongside them throughout the school day. I'll talk about, how'd that feel? Talk about how you felt like before we came in, and now talk about how you feel now. And I sit and I listen to how they're talking to their colleagues. And it's not preaching, and it's not a performance. It's not a slide deck. They're just talking about what they did and how it felt for kids and how it felt for them. And those conversations, like that's everything. That is absolutely everything. And if you feel good having those types of conversations, you can see your colleagues nodding along with you or taking notes, like that is your little spark in you to go, oh, okay, this is for me. Right. And so I don't know, I think for teachers who are listening, right, if you've ever been part of those conversations and if you see your colleagues nodding or they're starting to write down something, like that's that calling, right? That's a calling that you have. And you don't have to do a slide deck. You don't have to create a slide deck for that to happen. You're just talking about you and your transformation.
I hate slide deck presentations. I mean, obviously we do them, right? I mean, TJ, you're in Seattle for a conference right now. Like that's what you're doing. But like that's the other component to this, like mentorship and stuff. Like I love taking a new leader who like is maybe just even contemplating administration and just taking them out in the hallways and just like going to classes with them and just like picking their brain. What did you see? What what are some aspects that were great, and like just trying to go through every aspect of working with a parent, have them sit in a really confrontational meeting, or going into the student hallway and seeing like a student that's escalated and their eyes are like glossy and they're stiff and they're ready to like punch a wall, and seeing like that interaction. How do we work in that situation? Or even just like supervision in the cafeteria, like how do they relate with kids? Do they get to know them on a human level? Do they get down on their level, like literally their height, with them? Do they joke around with them? All those different things that administrators do that we don't talk about. That the only time that they get that information is typically in a room where they're getting spoken at about what administration is. And it's like, no, you need to feel it. You need to be in this situation. Even when we were doing those cohort models, we would go to different campuses. So we go to elementaries, we go to middle schools, we go to high schools. Why? Because all of those three settings are so very vastly different. And you might get assigned to one of those places. Are you going to like it? Mm-hmm. You gotta feel it. You gotta be there. You can't just hear someone talk about an elementary school and never actually be in the presence of these little ones, and then expect to be an assistant principal someday and thrive in that setting. And so then we also had other leaders talk, and so we would have like problems that they would have to solve, and try and mix it up so that it gave them the best opportunity to see it, experience it, be in the midst of it, instead of just sitting there, like you said, Kim, looking at a slide deck and hoping that this isn't going to be something that they choose to do in the future.
I want to take it just one step further too, for the listeners, the administrators who are listening. I think it's number one, I think that the only way you can truly run a well-oiled machine, an awesome school, is to have a teacher leadership team. And the bigger the school, the bigger the teacher leadership team needs to be, and the more layers of teacher leadership there needs to be. But I also would, the step further would be to say, I think it's a responsibility within the system for the leaders to create opportunities for teacher leadership, and to create opportunities for teachers to lead outside of their domain, outside of their individual classroom, because that is the way to, I think, help people grow, and also expand the influence is probably the way that I'll say, expand a positive influence would always make me, and I think I've said it on the show before, like some of my proudest work in the school system is when a teacher wasn't a leader. They were in the classroom and we worked on them to become a teacher leader. And maybe they took the first step to become a department leader. And then I had grade level leaders. And then later on, I would get promoted. And then that person would eventually become a specialist at the district level, or an assistant principal somewhere, and then a principal, and sometimes director, and all the way up. And those people that had been around me, where we were really pouring into them, and then they grew up in the system, they really had a positive impact greater than their classroom instruction, which again is important. But if we want to grow the system and we want it to thrive, as we say, then we really have a responsibility to grow the teachers and to grow the leaders around us. And so if that's not something that's on your checklist every day as a school leader, then I think we need to add to that to make sure that we're pouring into our teachers to become leaders and our teacher leaders to be the best leaders they can be. That was my rant.
I liked it.
I need more fire in your belly next time, though, TJ.
I just presented 6 times.
That's right.
By the way, no slide deck, one handout.
Because there's round tables, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with the really gifted teacher that you've identified as a potential leader? Sorry, everybody. That doesn't want to.
Time out as Mitch dies. Let's revive.
Make that step.
Doesn't want to?
Well, I'm wondering too, like usually I have a person that there's a lot of self-doubt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like they know they're doing a kick-ass job in the classroom. They have that. They're very confident. But then the idea of going out and beyond, to TJ's point, that's when it's like the fear kicks in, the anxiety, the self-doubt. And that's where, like, as a leader, you have to identify, but then also like build them up. Sometimes I try to give them an opportunity without a title. So they could see themselves, and usually it's like low level, right? I'm not trying to give them something large, but for an easy win, but also to see that they've got influence. And then when they see success in that, then that belief starts to grow. You know, it's a little spark that we're trying to make into a large flame. So, you know, you're trying to get that sparks for them to see, oh, I do enjoy this. This is fun. I see the influence. I see the feedback is positive. I'm starting to see the results in that project, whatever it might be, right? Because I think that's part of what TJ's talking to as a leader. Like, you have to build them up, but a lot of it's mental. Yep. They have the abilities. You've already identified those. You've already communicated that to them. But it's more in the brain, in their mind, to get them to understand that, yes, they're capable and they're going to be amazing in that leadership role.
I would say,
go ahead, Kim.
I would say they need to be surrounded by other like-minded people, and they might not even know who those people are. So if you're a district leader and you've kind of like selected somebody where you see like, they've got potential here, right? And they're kind of like resistant, I would be like, no, come here, come. You need to meet this person and this person and this person and this person. This is your herd, right? These are your people. And so I was just even thinking, Josh, as you were talking about a year one teacher, first year teacher that I was with, and she blew me away. I mean, like, mind blown. I walked in there. I taught her something brand new that usually takes years for a teacher to even master. Years. I taught it to her in probably 20 minutes. I stood there with the kids. They were like out at recess. I was like, hey, this is what you're going to do. I had her walk through some stuff with me. I was drawing stuff out, making a visual nice and neat, everything. I was like, hey, this is what you're going to do here. This is what you're going to do here. And she's like, okay, kids came in. I could not even believe, my jaw dropped, you guys. I even recorded her. She like let me record her. Could you imagine the stress? You're a first year teacher. This woman flew from Dallas to come and coach you. She wasn't even supposed to be coached. She wasn't even part of the cohort. Somebody was sick and I was supposed to be in his classroom. And so the principal was like, can you come in here for like a couple hours and just be with her? Like, she had no idea. She freaking killed it. And to hear her then afterwards talk about her experience in front of colleagues as a first year teacher, you guys, it's the end of February. She hasn't even taught for a single whole school year on her own. And I was like, oh. And I looked at her, I could hear her in her voice, and she was kind of stepping into this confidence. Like it was like happening as she was speaking. And then at the very end, what happens? Come here. You come here. This other teacher partner of yours, you come here. I'll stand with my mentor teachers and I'll say, guess what? I've got a whole community of teachers who are just like you. You've got this. You keep going. We're going to continue to pour into you. And next year, you're joining the cohort. Now, what does that do? Now it makes her feel like I'm not alone in this. Okay, I have people that believe in me. I can do this. I feel empowered. This kind of feels good. And then you keep that consistency. And I'm telling you, like, I wish that somebody had done that for me. Stepping into a leadership role at a school district, I wish that somebody from the top had been like, come here, Kim. You're going to sit over here and you're going to be with this person, this person, this person. They're just like you. They are a teacher for teachers. They are going to pour into the work, not for themselves, but for the students and for the educators that need them. Like, these are your people. I wish that I would have had that. I think that's the secret. Look at TJ. He's like,
yeah, no, I'm with you.
I know. TJ's so done with people right now. He's just like
peopling.
So much peopling. All right. Are there any last comments here? Because I think there's a celebration in order also for this episode.
I have comments, but I can't talk today, so I'm.
I know you're like bright red, my man.
What's going on? But I agree. There you
go. That's Mitch's contribution. So,
what's the
if you're watching, well, for folks that are watching right now, there's not something superimposed over Kim's shoulder. This is a real object. Her brand new book, TJ.
Of course I did. I had to read the caption. You know, it's not just that I have to read what's behind you guys. Like, I actually have to read also VIBE Edu EP, private chat, login, sign up, free comments, recording, uploading, recording.
Oh, you have the whole studio that you're reading through.
Everything. Okay. I have to read all of it. And so it's debilitating in some way. But I do it every show as I read what's on the screen.
Well, now everyone understands what we look at on StreamYard, so that's awesome. But what I'm speaking on is becoming the bison behind Kim Gameroz's shoulder and what she's holding right now. So we are so excited for you, Kim.
It's a real thing. Can you believe it? Like, real pages? I can't.
So congratulations.
Cool.
So awesome. Yes.
And when's it coming out? Like, when can people actually get it? Tell us. Isn't there a day coming up that's like super important?
Very special day.
It is Monday, March 2nd. It is International SEL Day. And just for the listeners who are listening, we are celebrating in a big way. And it is really, really cool because I know so many teachers and parents and administrators have already pre-ordered their book. So it will be in your hands on Monday. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to feel the momentum across the country. And I want you to buy a copy for somebody who needs it. And I want you to be choosy about who needs this book. It is for, I mean, at the very back, it says, for the teachers who stay late and care too much. It's for the ones who feel a little burnt out right now. It's the ones who are going, there's got to be a better way. It's the ones who've been sitting there spiraling, and they're the good ones going, I just don't know what else to do. That's this book. And so I want you to gift it to somebody who needs it. I want you to post it on social media, holding your copy when you get it in your pretty little hands. Definitely tag me, Celebrate Good Times or Teaching Inside Out. And then get your kids involved, get your students involved. Look at your t-shirt, wear your t-shirt, get your students involved, take a picture or a video of them saying, we are bison when, and I just might be, doing something special. I'm going to choose 3 winners who have done all these things. There's like a point system and everything. And I want to gift a signed copy. I want to Zoom with an educator and their students, one on the West Coast, one Central, and one on the East to celebrate, because you deserve to be celebrated. Let's book study.
Let's book study. Well, we're so excited for you, Kim, and very proud. All 3 of us have been in your corner for this process. I know it's a long process, probably longer than you anticipated, but we are so excited. And I mean, what an amazing schedule to have it on that day specifically for the book launch. It makes so much sense too. So we, of course, will be participating like everybody else that has the book in hand. Make sure if you haven't pre-ordered that you jump in, because when this comes out, it'll actually be tomorrow that it'll be live for everyone to actually get through your bookstores. So make sure you grab a copy and make sure that you're taking a photo of it, put it on social media. Of course, follow Kim on all of the socials so you can see what all those details are. Kim, is there any other exciting announcements that you want to talk through? I know we are vigorously trying to get VIBE Edu constructed, ready to go in July. I know for myself, I can't wait to see everyone in person for that. And I know there's a lot of energy behind the scenes from folks that are anticipating such an amazing event.
I think the biggest update right now is that I've been meeting with people who want to sponsor the event, but also purchase tickets for teachers. So number one, if you are somebody who wants to support teachers and purchase tickets, reach out to us. We can make that happen for you. If you're with a company or a foundation, we'd love to partner with you and make that happen in the best way. And if you're a teacher who desperately wants to be there, then also reach out to us. We'll put you on that waiting list because tickets have already been purchased for teachers, you guys. And I just can't wait to give them to you. I can't wait.
So I've got the link here on the screen, but we'll make sure that those details are in the show notes for you. So you can go to teachinginsideout.com/vibe-edu for more information. There's videos, there's photographs of last year's event, a lot of information on that website. So make sure you're heading over there. And of course, if you're seeking a ticket, like Kim was talking about, reach out to her. And we're so excited to be able to have those sponsorships for teachers that need it. And it will be a spark for folks as they're getting into the new year, school year, at least new year for, 2026, 2027. So awesome. Cannot wait. We're going to wrap this series up next week. If you have questions for the VIBE Edu mailbag episode, make sure that you're sending that either to Kim or one of us through social media. If you're a part of Kim's community, I know Voxer is a huge communication tool that a lot of folks like to send questions to Kim. So we cannot wait for that episode. It could be on something that we talked about during this series or from a previous topic or series. So make sure to send those in, and we will try and get through those as quickly as possible during that episode. With that, we're going to wrap this up. TJ, go enjoy a cold one, my friend. You deserve it after your 6 sessions. Mitch, I don't know what you need, my man, but hopefully you get healthy.
I think I need the same. Sorry, everybody.
We've all been traveling, so now that we're back, hopefully we can unwind. But it was great to see everyone, and we cannot wait to see you once again next week.